Aloha and welcome to Sunshine Fitness. I'm so glad you are here with me today. If you are looking to build a foundation of lasting strength, move with full assurance and feel absolute confidence in your body, this session is designed exactly for you. All you need for today's session is a resistance band rolled up to one side and a couple of hand weights, which are totally optional. I've got £3, just so you know. Okay, so this is a beginner-friendly rehabilitation and senior-focused workout where we will be using light dumbbells to stimulate our bones, protect our joints, and unlock our functional power. No matter your fitness level, you belong here. So let's get into our first exercises, which are going to be knee lifts, either with these little heel lifts and marching arms, or join me in actual lifting up each knee, shrugging up the shoulders towards the ears. Excellent. Now, a quick note on the science of stomping. During today's session, you're going to hear me talk about stomping the ground. Now, medical practitioners and bone specialists highly recommend this because that sudden, gentle impact sends a signal through your bones, especially your hips and femur, telling them to remodel, rebuild, and grow stronger. It's like a wake-up call for your bone density. So we're going to incorporate that mechanical loading safely and confidently in our moves today. Okay, so setting you up for our second exercise, which is going to be the sit to stand move. So, as I just demonstrate this now, just want you to move to the front edge of your chair, plant your feet firmly, keep your spine long, and push through your heels to stand up completely. Squeezing your glutes at the top, confidently lower back down into the seat, and repeat. So, pushing your body weight up against gravity places an excellent functional load on the hip joints and lower spine, exactly where that structural support is needed most. And this then builds powerful quadriceps and glute strength, which directly translate to keeping your independent mobility and protecting your knee joints. Sit to stands are absolute powerhouses. Good work, well done, excellent. Okay, so exercise number 3 is you take a rest. I'll just show you what we're doing here. So we're heading into an alternating overhead press with an opposite knee lift. So you're going to be bringing your hands or the light dumbbells to shoulder height. And as you press one arm overhead, lift your opposite knee to a comfortable height and then alternate sides with control. So this reaching overhead loads the wrist and forearm bones. And then the single leg lift is just going to really work into the quadriceps, lengthen through the calf, and just give a safe, flexible motion in your knee joints. What it's also going to do is get your heart rate up anytime you take your arms overhead, especially if they are weight bearing. It's going to help get that heart rate high. Excellent. Okay, so we move on to our fourth exercise. So this is going to be done from a standing position, and this is our first stomp move, and it's an alternating forward lunge. So you're going to take a deliberate step forward, and I want you to firmly stomp your heel onto the floor as you land into a shallow lunge. And you push off that front foot to return to standing and then switch legs. And just feel that solid connection with the earth. And know that that targeted impact from the stomp creates a beneficial stress wave that travels up the leg, specifically signaling the hip bones to reinforce their density. So this is a great exercise to strengthen your lower body, sharpen your spatial awareness, and it builds reactive strength to prevent trips and slips. So it's a very dynamic movement. Excellent. Okay, so onto some upper body movement here. Now you can do this either seated or standing, and we're working into the upper back and the tricep at the top of the back of the arm. So we're going to hinge slightly forward with a long flat back, pull your elbows straight up past your ribs for a single arm row, hold it there, and then extend the arm backward to engage your tricep. And then control it on the way back down. Excellent. So pulling against resistance actively stimulates the muscle attachments on the spine, upper back and forearm bones, promoting local bone density. So we're changing sides halfway through this, and we're opening up the chest, strengthening the upper back muscles, and this can help prevent rounding of the spine, as well as toning the back of the arms, those everyday pushing and pulling tasks. Perfect. Okay, we are over halfway through. So into our second drop exercise. These are calf raises with a drop. Now you could do one heel at a time here, so just lifting and lowering one heel, or both heels are lifted off the ground, lightly holding your chair for balance. And then as you reach the apex of the lift, you then intentionally drop your heels back down onto the floor with a firm thud, and let your heels hit the ground with a solid, controlled impact. And that movement provides a beautiful mechanical heel strike, and that sends bone stimulating forces directly up the tibia, fibula, and your hip bones. So this is just brilliant for strengthening your calves, improving your ankle joint mobility, and sharpening the quick acting reflexes that are required to catch yourself if your foot were to stumble. Okay, fantastic. So exercise number 7, we're going in for a side leg lift. So you can do this exercise without holding the chair to work on your balance, or just lightly have the fingertips resting on the back of your chair. Fantastic. So standing tall here, keep your toes pointing forward and lift that one leg directly to one side. And we'll be changing legs halfway through the exercise. Now, this move is going to target the femoral neck, which is the side of the hip joint, which is a critical area to strengthen for anyone managing osteoporosis. And it helps build the lateral hip stabilizers, which are the exact muscles responsible for keeping your pelvis level and stable when you walk. So a really, really good move and a complementary move to those earlier leg extensions and forward lunges. And you can always keep your foot off the ground as you lift and lower, working on that balance. Okay, so up comes the resistance band. So this is for our wrist twists. Now, we're going to hold the band in front of the chest, and we're going to grip around the top and the bottom of the band, really taking the knuckles in towards the chest. Grip tightly onto the band and then wring the band out in front of you. So this is like, if you imagine if you're turning a key or wringing out a towel. And this is just an excellent exercise because wrist fractures are actually quite common in osteoporosis. And this exercise specifically strengthens the distal radius and ulnar bones by targeting the surrounding wrist muscles. So this is brilliant for keeping your wrist joints mobile and increases grip strength, which can be really handy for dealing with like tight jar lids, carrying groceries and opening doors. Fantastic. Okay, so onto a side lean. You can do this exercise from a seated position if you prefer. So even if you get halfway through and you just think, oh, I just want to sit down, please do by all means. So this is working the internal and external obliques. So you're holding a single or 2 hand weights close to the center of your chest. Keep your feet wide and planted, and then a gentle lateral lean from one side to the other. And use your core to pull you back to center. Don't let the shoulders do that. Make sure it's that core that helps you draw yourself back to the top before leaning to the other side. And so this is a safe, controlled lateral movement, and it provides multi-directional loading on the vertebrae of the spine without the risks of deep forward twisting. So really important for just general mobility around the back. Excellent. Okay, we've made it. Exercise number 10, we're going to stretch out. So one leg in front of the other, we're going to reach up, opposite arm, and then lower the hips back and behind. as we lift the toes on that front foot, stretching out the hamstring and then into the hip flexors. Excellent. Okay, there's a dog in the way, so let's just switch sides. So again, other foot now, dropping back, lifting up, stretching through the opposite arm, length through the hip flexor on the right leg here, and the back of the left hamstring. Excellent. And then from there, onto the chest and upper back, press the hands out in front of you, drop the chin to the chest, release the hands, open up, stretching across the chest. Excellent work. So fantastic job, everyone. You moved with such confidence and gave your bones a wonderful gift of strength and vitality. If you enjoyed this workout, please like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. God bless, take care, see you soon.